Is it sad that we know that well?
We're so stupid we are.
How many hours do you have to play a game? And mind you, that's an 8-bit era game, and we know that song by heart. And I think the next one that's important, it has to be. How you doing, everybody? I'm Bill.
And I'm Neil.
And this is Random Tangent again. And I know what you're thinking to yourself. Jesus Christ, guys. This is a week later. You're still wearing the same clothes. Everything looks the same. I told you last week. You won't let me leave.
Yeah.
I just want to sleep.
It's his house, and I'm just being so rude.
He is. He's over here. He won't leave. He's like, we got to shoot like 15 episodes. I don't want to do this.
The plus side is we don't have to see each other next week, though. Welcome back to our 16-bit episode.
Episodic adventure.
Saga.
We're from Chicago. You gotta
Saga.
go there.
Sausage.
Bears.
We're gonna do a couple 2-tree episodes.
Couple 2-tree, you know. For you guys. For you guys out there, we're gonna do a couple 2-tree episodes.
You went Italian mobster all of a sudden.
No, Italian mobster would be. Let me tell you something. What we're gonna do is a 16-bit episode. If you don't like it, you're gonna find Mario's head in your bed. You know, see, we could, you know. No, I did that wrong. I'm sorry. You're gonna find Yoshi's head in your bed. You gotta do at least an animal.
You're right.
Yeah, stay in that same.
Welcome back to our 16-bit saga.
Saga.
Our first episode.
Sega?
Saga.
Sega?
Sega.
Don't ever say those words. Slap the shit out of you.
Our first episode, we talked about things that we enjoyed from the 16-bit era, which is such as the variety of games that were available, and the fact that it was
the fact that it was like the era.
Yeah, our favorite era, and the fact that the video game rivalry that continues today amongst even different systems kind of got its start in that era.
Yeah, definitely.
This week we are going to be continuing, or this episode, we're going to be continuing to talk about some of our favorite stuff from the 4th generation of video games, 16-bit era, the era of the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Oh, one thing I forgot to bring up in our last one when we were talking about the rivalry between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the Super Mario Brothers Super Show with Captain Lou Albano as Mario? If you go, it's on Netflix. If you go, If you go through and watch it, there's an episode. I'm not sure which episode it was. You have to go through and find it.
You're gonna make people watch this, and then we're gonna lose all our subscribers because we'll be like, these motherfuckers
have too much time on their hand, and now they're making us do work. You go through and you find an episode. It's a James Bond kind of themed episode, and Koopa is the Bond villain, and
not a good one.
Per usual Bond villain, you walk into the room, and he's like this. He spins around. And where there would normally be a cat, he has a blue hedgehog. Which you would assume would be what? What would you assume that would be?
I would have been. Now you would assume that'd be a perfect knock at Sony, or I'm sorry, at Sega and Sonic.
The thing is, so I was watching it, and I got to think to myself, all the artwork for that show was kind of that Super Mario Brothers 2 design, which was not even technically a Mario game. It's a reskin game that they gave us because we're dumb Americans. And I'm thinking, like, wait, how long ago did that game come out versus when did Sonic come out? And I looked it up, and that episode actually came out 2 years before Sonic was a thing.
It's like It's like Nintendo knew.
Mm-hmm.
On a side note, another thing I didn't think about with the 16-bit era when we were discussing platformers and things like that. That was the era that they brought out Super Mario World or Super Mario: The Lost Levels, which is where we actually got
The game
Lost Levels was Super Mario Brothers 2.
The real
The
one.
real one. And if you ever played it, motherfuckers, give me that Toki Toki Panic.
Right, it was hard. You were right. Good
Japan?
call.
Good call.
Yeah. So, this time let's talk about some of the more some of the other things that we like from the era. And I'm going to start with maybe it's called the expanded scope of the games. From what the ones that had already been out, such as Mario, Zelda, Mega Man, to what they became in this era, and also just some of the new ones that showed up that just kind of revolutionized everything.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about one that definitely can get behind that. That would be the jump from 8-bit Zelda to Link to the Past.
Oh,
First off, the fact that it followed up Zelda 2, which I'm not saying is a horrible game, but
I will say I mean, you can polish a turd all you want. You ain't going to ever make that look good. That was a terrible game, and I don't care what anybody says.
it was
You can
interesting.
comment all you want. I'm going to tell you right now, when you take the first Zelda and put Zelda 2 next to it, I'm going to tell you every time everybody's going to choose Zelda.
I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're playing the long game on that one.
Yeah, it was a long game, all right. Sitting there playing it like, is this fucking thing over with? God damn.
That after that one, and they finally brought Link to the Past, you're like, hey, guess what? It's super duper awesome because it's not at all like that last one.
Yeah, but I mean, truth be told, the Link to the Past, I mean, that's one of my favorite Super Nintendo games of all time. I think it may have been one of the first games I ever actually beat. And I mean, I put time into that game. That game was so much fun there. Because that was when Super Mario Brothers 3 kind of laid the foundation. But the 16-bit era too, you know another thing I noticed about that? There was a lot more secrets.
Yes,
a lot more things to search for. There were things to really take that extra time to go hunting to see what you would find.
Kind of a precursor to the open world games that are so prevalent today.
I mean, and I think A Link to the Past really kind of emphasizes on that. I mean, when you think about it, you had that whole world. You could travel a majority of that world from day one.
Yeah.
Wasn't a very good idea.
No, you will get chased out of most of it, but yeah.
But hey.
You can get to there. I think another one, maybe from that era, that Mega Man. That
Mega Man,
made that jump from the Mega Man series, which is good.
Mega Man was a beast.
On the 8-bit system, so you got Mega Man X, which they took all the good things from the first one.
Yeah, Mega Man X was really well done.
And just polish it up.
Yeah.
Made it even better. So many more. Metroid versus Super Metroid. Once again,
Metroid. Wow, yeah.
As we said in our last episode, we're calling it the 16-bit era, but it's mostly Super Nintendo stuff. That was our system. So we'll mention some Sega stuff, but yeah, it's going to be.
I mean, I can sit here and tell you about good Sega games that exist. Earthworm Jim, which was primarily a Sega title initially, and then kind of moved over. You had Vector Man, which if you didn't play Vector Man, it got a lot of good reviews. It was a solid platformer, and it was an interesting platformer, and it showed off the power that Sega had. Sega's system wasn't like Sega jumped into the ring with something that was a little more powerful than the Nintendo and hoped to win. Like they came in with they had some balls. I honestly don't 100% know what. I think Sega's biggest problem is Nintendo already had an established market.
Yeah. There's a familiarity with that system.
They already had all their background with all these major players. They were able to bring a lot to themselves, where Sega was new, dipping her toes in.
Let's talk about new games that became available though that really had an impact. I'm gonna start off with Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, I think that was
originally arcade, but made its way onto the consoles.
Yeah.
And I think they don't make new arcades Mortal Kombat anymore. If they do, it's probably on the console first.
Well, if you'll privilege me an opportunity to tell us a small short story here about Mortal Kombat, because in my opinion, Mortal Kombat is what really drew me in to the gaming scene and to fighting games and stuff. Now, I'm not very good at fighting games, but I do enjoy them. I think everybody enjoys them a little bit.
Fun for a little while, depending on how bad you are.
they can lose their... I think the thing that made the Mortal Kombat series really cool, too, and it progressed as the game progressed over the years, was... It took this concept of a fighting game and added a story.
True.
I mean, there's a mythos involved in Mortal Kombat that's ridiculous, i.e. 2 movies and everything else.
One of them was actually decent too.
But which one was it?
The first one, not the second one.
The second one was awesome. It was terrible, but it was awesome. Just because Sector was in it.
Was it Sector? It is Sector. Which
Yeah.
one was the yellow one?
Cyrex.
Cyrex is in it.
Oh yeah.
Don't fight me on this. I know. Stuart.
Yes, I know better. You're fully useless knowledge. Anyways, I'll never forget my first interaction with the Mortal Kombat series. And it wasn't what you think. It wasn't like I went and rented this game at, a store. Oh, wow. No. It wasn't that. It was even better. I had gone to a town out near us. It was Woodridge. And I come from a family of smokers. This is back in the era when smoking was still cool.
Before vaping was around.
Yeah.
It's so much cooler. Keep it up, guys. You look awesome.
Anyway, so my mother was a smoker. Well, there was a little cigarette shop. At least I think that's what it was. I was very young, and I can't remember. It might have been a restaurant, like a little pizza joint or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's irrelevant. We walk in, and it was a counter, kind of like this. And at the end of the counter, right by the window, was a little arcade game. And what made it odd wasn't the fact that there was an arcade game in here. I mean, that was pretty common back then.
Mm-hmm.
It was two businessmen talking the suits. The one guy had his jacket draped over. The other guy had his tie loose. Like literally what you would imagine when you think two businessmen playing video games. And they were just sitting there playing this game. And these guys were good. And I remember telling my mother, like, I'm going to go watch. I'm watching. And it was, and I'll never forget, it was Sub-Zero and it was Scorpion. Like the two king characters of the game.
Mm-hmm. That ninja look, I think, also is
Oh,
what kind of
it was
cemented that game.
It drew
They
me
looked
in,
awesome.
and I'm just like, and I'm watching them fight, and I'm like, fake blood, whatever. Like, I wasn't one of those kids like, mommy, blood. I want to slice people up now.
You wanted to do that before?
Yeah, it's long before
totally
that.
different thing.
Still any bubblegum to you?
God damn you!
So I'm watching these guys play, and it was really cool. I'm like, this is a good fighting game. Wasn't really into fighting games though. Wasn't my thing. And I'm watching, and I remember I just started getting ready to turn away. And I heard, finish him. What? And I turned and looked, and the one guy's just... And all of a sudden, this motherfucker rips the other guy's head clean off, spine and all, and I'm sitting there just... like, it was... I'm like, I don't know what this is, but it needs to be mine.
Mortal Kombat, I think, is a very influential...
Very.
The ESRB rating that we see on every game now came out
Mortal Kombat!
in response to the unprecedented levels of blood and gore that even for that game is so tame now compared to what you see nowadays. But back then it was a huge deal.
Little Grand Theft Auto 5 and go play Mortal Kombat 1, you'd be like, oh, this is cute.
Play it to Fallout. Is that an eye? That's an eye.
Wow, that's just dangling there, isn't it?
But not only that, but if you remember when it came to consoles, it was a dual release. It came out on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. The Super Nintendo had a very strict policies on what they would allow in their games, and blood was not on the list for the original Mortal Kombat when it came out on consoles. It was fine on the Genesis, and hey, guess which version sold a lot better than the other one? Way better on the Genesis. So by the time Mortal Kombat 2 came around to consoles, guess what Nintendo had in their game? Blood. Another game I think very important for the era was Sonic, just because I know you're not a big fan.
Excuse me, shut your whore mouth.
But just because they created such a rival for Mario.
They did. They took this plumber who
Awesome.
was king and said, watch this, we'll make a game that's faster and pushes you more. And Sonic was a good game.
Mario games, I think, were more or less very linear up to that point.
Yeah.
Like, granted, there's like you could like hit warp zone or whatnot.
Yeah.
But Sonic, there's all sorts of different ways to get through those
Oh,
levels.
yeah. And there's ways you're just like, how the fuck do I get up there?
Like you'd see like something up there, like you'd like, I should be able to get to that. How though?
Yeah. And it drew you to go look for it too. Like there was days I would spend a while just like, how the fuck do you get up there? If I jump here, no. And it created, I think Sonic really kind of pushed the evolution of that.
I think it definitely rocked Nintendo once again to think about, we got
at the foundation. Because they were like, yeah.
Which, by the time Super Mario World came out, there was multiple paths for that game. If you remember Donkey Kong Country, there's another one that all sorts of ways you can get through those levels, all sorts of hidden areas you can get to, bust through walls and find new
And it was
stuff.
so much fun to find it, too. That's what made it even better.
Yeah. Alright, something else that we really enjoyed from the 16-bit era is, as opposed to just the expansion of the scope of the games, how much bigger they became, storytelling
really
games
opened up.
took
Really
off during this
opened
area.
up.
It was no longer just a simple amusement that you play for a little bit and forget about. You could get invested in stories in these games.
I think the 16-bit era, that's where they said, you know what, we got the power, we've got the memory capacity now, we can tell a story.
Yes,
A
definitely.
real story.
Mm-hmm.
Not just like I mean, people will go and tell you, and I'm sure there's people might comment if there's anybody out there that cares, and say, hey, well, The Legend of Zelda, the original on the 8-bit, that told a story. But if you think about it, that was a very basic story.
You got more of the story in the instruction book, which I gotta say, I miss those little manuals that come with games now.
Oh, for those of you that are young and don't know, there used to be these things that came with games.
Uh-huh.
They were called instruction manuals, which I just thought, we gotta look that up. When is the last time a game came with an instruction manual?
I want to say maybe 64 era some of them might have had it.
Well,
Not
I
all.
know there's 360 games that have manuals, but they're like,
Tell you where in the game to look up help.
most of it's just contractual obligations. Of
Yeah.
what you can and can't do while you
No, I'm
play the
talking
game.
about like there'd be like story text in there. There'd be like lists of all the items in the game and what they do.
I'll list all the
pictures.
enemies in the game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember that.
One of the things that was nice about this area was just the area. It was just the amount of originality
Era.
in game area.
Area? Okay.
This
Area
area of
51?
games, the ones over here.
This area. Not that area.
No.
We don't talk about them. Those are those games.
We don't. Everywhere the light touches, but not the shadowy spot.
Idiot.
This era of games is the amount of just originality. Nowadays, you get games come out, and a lot of times they're just referred to as a clone of a different popular game.
Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty,
Diablo clone, you know?
Diablo clone.
Even
Yeah.
games that were very similar. Like I said, Soul Blazer was one of my favorite games. You know what it was? It was like a top-down perspective where you go around fighting stuff with your sword, collecting items to use throughout. What game does that sound like? Zelda, right?
Yeah.
You don't refer to it as a Zelda clone, though.
Is it bad that I went to Dynasty Warriors?
That's a good series, but not this timeline, though.
Yeah, definitely a different timeline, but that was weird that I went there.
You didn't really refer to most games as clones of other games. They're just the game in and of itself.
Yeah, I don't think it really was. It was.
We weren't as jaded.
Yeah, I think it was more of like, well, they kind of got this idea. It was more of like they took this idea and ran with it. Because back then people could innovate. Like, oh, well, this guy did this, but how can we make it better?
Mm-hmm.
So it was, the concept of clone was never used. It was more of a, hey.
Inspired.
Inspired, yeah. Perfect, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like, subscribe, share, comment below. Please.
Join us next time when we wrap up our 16-bit series and start leading into, I'm not sure if we're going to get to it right away after this, but we will eventually be getting into a 32-bit, 5th generation maybe?
Fifth generation. Let's call it 5th generation.
It wasn't Nintendo's addition to 32-bit, it was Virtual Boy, because I'm not doing that.
Oh, no, we're doing that. Because that actually has a funny story at the end of it.
Okay, if you say
It
so.
involves death. Not the mythical sickle and, like, skeleton. Like, somebody died.
How have you not done an 8-bit episode? We started this weird.
No, we did an 8-bit episode.
We talked about, like, a problem with the 8-bit series.
That was it. Oh.
There's just a problem. That's all you need to know about it. It sucked saving sometimes.
Anyways, because the 16-bit's the only one that matters. Never mind the fact that 8-bit resuscitated the gaming world. So like, subscribe, share, love us, keep in touch. Be ready when we come back with a wonderful 3rd episode to this saga. Saggy saga.
That is us now.
Yes,
We have the
sadly
Saggy
enough,
guys.
Saggy saga. That's it. We gotta take this down, repaint it.
So join Saggy Saga, formerly Random Tangent, on our next episode.
All right. You guys have a good one, and we are out of here. Neil loves the cock.
In 16-bit.
Absolutely.
Don't bring me no 32-bit cock.
And don't bring 8-bit. That's just
No.
rude. That's just rude. Big pixelated thing. You don't even know what it is.
Like maybe two 8-bit cocks together. Maybe.
Docking.